Okay, I have an original effect to share with you today, and it involves ace through jack of any of the suits. Okay, so the spectator can freely choose those. So I'll go ahead and gather these. Now, since we've seen the cards and the ordering of the cards, why don't we mix them? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform what's called a Charlier 1. And I could add a link in the description below to that shuffle. It's essentially a Charlier shuffle in which you move one card at a time. Now from here I'm going to Klondike pairs kind of randomly to the table like this. Okay. Now it is true that since we have an odd number of cards, namely 11, we'll be left with a lone survivor there after the Klondike shuffle has been performed. Now what I need you to do is direct me as to which pair you would like me to pick up first, and then I'm going to give you some additional choices beyond that. So top left, okay. Now do you want me to leave these cards in their current order, or would you like me to switch the order? Your choice. Switch, okay. Which pair would you like me to pick up next? Top right, okay. Same thing here. Do you want me to leave them in their current order or switch them? Leave them in their current order. Now, would you like them set on top or on bottom? Your choice. Bottom, okay? What would you like next? Bottom right? Okay. What about these two? Switch or leave? Switch. Where would you like these placed? Top or bottom? Top, okay. Bottom left over here. Do you want these switched or left the way they are? Leave them, okay? Where would you like these? You want them on top as well? And then the final pair, you want these switched or left the way they are? Switched. Where would you like these placed? On the bottom. Okay, so you have to realize that those were all free choices that you can give the spectator, okay? Now what I'm going to do from here is just deal out the cards into two piles, left, right, with random stacking decided by you. That's important. You want right on left? Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform what's called a full Charlier shuffle, but I'll continue with that shuffle until you tell me to stop. Okay, so let me just show you how that works. So I push off a number of cards, then from the bottom I push over some, from the top they go on the bottom, and then bottom to top. Okay. So it's kind of a top to bottom, bottom to top sort of shuffle. Now you just tell me when to stop. Stop there? Sure? Okay. Now what I'm going to do here to finish, let me maybe move this one down. I'm going to deal out the cards into, maybe we'll slide those up, into 5 piles here. A little pentagon here. Okay, there we go. And then we'll just continue like that. So we'll have a pair in each of the piles. Okay, and as you can probably see off to the side, to this side, I have a written prediction, or at least a piece of paper there. I didn't realize that this almost doesn't fit. Okay, so let's take a look at the written prediction. And I want you to think back to all of the choices that you made. I did some messy shuffling with the Charlier 1. We did this Klondike into pairs all over the place. No order to those pairs. In fact, within each pair, you dictated the order of those cards as well as the stacking order of those pairs. And then I just dealt out into a left and right pile with random stacking decided by you. And then I performed this very messy and destructive Charlier shuffle until you told me to stop. In fact, a choice I could have given you right before we started dealing these out here, I could have had you form a final random cutting of the cards. So when you go to do it, even after the Charlier shuffle, you can ask the spectator, would you, as the spectator, like to freely cut the cards? So that decision is completely out of my control as the performer. Okay, so I apologize. I could have given you that additional choice. But since you told me when to stop Charlier shuffling, hopefully that's sufficient. Well, let's take a look at the written prediction here. Let's see. The center card will be an ace. Well, to my knowledge, there was only one ace. It was ace through jack. So I have a 1 out of 11 chance of this being true. Oh, it is. There it is. The ace of hearts. Okay. Is there anything else to this prediction? I have no idea. Epsilon 1, 1, 1 for every. Any math people out there will recognize this symbol as for all or for every. Epsilon, what in the world does that mean? Oh, wait. Rotate the page 180 degrees. Why would that help? Oh, wait. It says, I think it says all 13. All 13 what? Oh, wait. Do you think it's referring to the cards here? Let's just take a look. All 13. Oh, okay. There you go. A 6 and a 7. They add up to 13. There's no way. These all add. Oh, 8 and a 5. Yes, indeed. A 3 and a 10. Check this one out. A 2 and a jack. See, a jack's an 11, so 2 plus 11 is 13. And a 9 and a 4 is indeed 13. Look at that. We nailed the written prediction that was created before any of these many choices were made by you, the spectator. Whoa. Okay, so how is this done? Well, you just do everything I did. I'm trying to think. There's nothing really. This is self-working. It's using principles on the Absolute Math Magic channel. The principles themselves are mathematical in nature. So in that sense, it's self-working. So yeah, if you do everything I did, just start with ace through jack. If you perform this Charlier 1, and I'll have a link in the description below to that, that's probably the only tricky card handling thing that you may have to give a little bit of practice to. So you kind of top to bottom, bottom card to top, top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom, and so forth. This is probably the hardest step. Okay, now let me just tell you what it does. In fact, or I could have you just discover for yourself what it does. But we started with ace through jack. The Charlier 1, one of its effects is it moves the top card to the middle position, namely the 6th position within this packet of 11 cards. Well, the Klondike Shuffle will bring to the top the middle card of an odd-sized packet, namely the card in the 6th position. So it's guaranteed to bring the ace to the top. So that answers kind of the first part of why the ace was in the center. The rest of it has to do with principles taught on the channel. Well, after the Charlier Shuffle is performed with the ace in the middle, if you look at the organization of the cards, it's mirrored relative to card sums of 13. So the outer 2 cards added give you 13. The next 2 in from the far ends add to 13, all the way to the middle 2 that add to 13. And then the ace technically is in the middle, right? It doesn't have a partner because there are 11 cards. Well, since that's mirrored, if you perform a Klondike Shuffle, that brings those little pairs together that add to 13, okay? Well, within that pair, it doesn't matter if you rearrange the cards within the pair is still 2 cards that add to 13. And you can randomly stack those pairs. And then from there, we did a left-right, okay? And so that converts it to a 2-cycle structure. It's cyclic now. Random stacking, so now it's a 2-cycle. Since it's cyclic, you can perform a random cut or a full Charlier Shuffle. Okay, and since it's cyclic with cycle length 5, it just means that if you deal these out into 5 piles, it's going to bring those pairs together that add to 13. And so the thing to do is perform all of this to yourself with the cards face up, and you'll be able to see the structures driving each step of this. And of course, this little gimmick is often used in magic, where you claim that the information you receive, for some reason, sometimes it comes in upside down. So you have to like rotate it to figure out what it is. Okay, so that's just a little gimmicky thing at the end. So I appreciate you watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.